What's up YouTube? This is going to be your guide on how to use Meloetta in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I'll be providing competitive movesets and some fun meme movesets too. If there's a Pokemon you'd like to see me cover, put it below in the comment section of the video. And if you enjoy these, they help you out, drop a like on the video and let's get into it. So recently Meloetta just got its shiny unlocked for the first time ever. So I thought a few people might be having a look how to use it. So let's have a look at it. So Meloetta, I'm going to break this into two parts. So we'll be having a look at the normal Meloetta form, and then we're having a look at the Pirouette form. The Pirouette form is a bit harder to use because it is relying on a gimmick, but I'll explain that in both of the parts. So firstly, having a look at Meloetta, it's got some pretty decent stats. It's got some nice bulk about it for sure. Health, its special defense, same as its special attack, and it's got an average speed as well, so it's not too bad. But the thing about it has a nice big special attack and special defense and health stats, so it's pretty bulky on the special side too. So it's only got one ability, and that's going to be a Serene Grace, which can be handy for sure on pretty much all the secondary effects, especially on a special set. Now, this first set is going to be based around Throat Spray. So let's have a look. We got a normal and psychic typing. So you can either run Hyper Voice along with Throat Spray, or you can have Terra Blast if you don't want to have Throat Spray. Terra Blast allows you to use the move Terra Blast, still have a reasonably powerful normal type move, and you can also use your Terra of choice as well. But for this set, we're going with a Throat Spray set. So we got Hyper Voice, which is going to be very good with Throat Spray. It also gets Alluring Voice, which is interesting. So this has a 100% chance of confusing a target that had a stat rise. So maybe something slower than you could come in and use that and then confuse them. Also, it works along with Throat Spray too, so activating that that item. Psychic, obviously, Psychic's good coverage, and Shadow Ball as well for any ghost types and opposing psychic types as well. I feel like that would work fairly well. EV spread is pretty standard here. So we've got max special attack and max speed, Timber Nature. It's good to give it Timber Nature. It needs that bit of extra speed. And it's got some very good special bulk, so it definitely can take a good hit right. If you weren't so interested in running Throat Spray, there are some other items you could run. For that though, some Terras. Let's talk about what Terras you can run. So I've given this one Terra Fairy. I thought that wouldn't be all that bad against any dark type Pokemon or bug type Pokemon. It could be nice and at least a defensive nature, plus it will increase the power of Alluring Voice, and Fairy is a very good type too. Some other ones you possibly could have on there, not a bad one could be Ghost. You could power up that Shadow Ball a little bit. That could be useful against any incoming ghost type Pokemon. Maybe they're thinking you don't have a lot to hit them with. Meant for typing too. Another good one is normal. Obviously, that's its stab. So you could go like Terra Normal, Hyper Voice. That could do some really, really good damage. But yeah, that's probably the ones that I'd run. Maybe the only thing about this set is you might have a little bit of trouble with any Steel type Pokemon. So if you're not so fussed about having a Fairy move on there at all, you could have a fighting move, and a good fighting move that it gets is Focus Blast. It is, obviously, it's a little bit, it's a little bit inaccurate for sure. So if you were to run that, obviously you'd be changing your items up. A good Terra you could run with that too would be fighting. You could even put Assault Vest on this too. It works fine as an Assault Vest sweeper, and it gives it even more bulk on the special side. So it's already got 128, and it makes it able to tank a lot of hits. So that could definitely be something you could do. Another item you could give it here is Choice Specs. That's going to be pretty nice. So we've got Focus Blast, Hyper Voice, Psychic, and Shadow Ball. Now, for argument's sake, if you just don't really care too much about Steel types, you could also give this Trick too. It does get Trick, so that would be great for tricking that Choice Specs off to any support-like Pokemon and shutting them down, then freeing up Meloetta to be able to use its other three moves. So that's probably how I'd run Meloetta for a Choice Specs or Throat Spray set. Now, Meloetta does get some access to Calm Mind, which is interesting. So this is fairly similar. So we've got the same sort of EV spread here. Timid Nature, max speed, and max special attack. I put Life Orb on here. You could put, I don't know, heavy duty boots if you're in singles, or Lumberry, anything like that could be useful. Expert Belt, so Calm Mind, that's going to make it special attack even higher. And we got Focus Blast with Steel types. Psyshock makes it a mixed sweeper, and then Alluring Voice too. I haven't put a normal type move on there because I've gone for Terror type fighting, but you know, you could easily get rid of Alluring Voice and give it Hyper Voice too. That could, you know, that could definitely work. Or you can do something like this, like Terror Blast. Like Terror Blast is still 80 base power when you compare it to Hyper Voice, which is a little bit more powerful, but you can also just keep using this move without terroring, right? And then, you know, if you decide to, well, you can go for the Terror type. So that's just another way of actually, you know, running it. Now, I know this Pokemon his signature move is Relic Song, which is also a special, I just want to say this while we're here, is a special move which actually transforms Meloetta into its Pirouette form. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to do the Pirouette form after this. It can be a little bit, you know, difficult to use too. So, yeah, so I would probably focus, unless you're running like a mixed attacker or something like that. Damn, maybe if you're running like mixed attack, I'll do one now. Let's do a mixed attacker. This could be fun. So, it all depends, because I'll get more onto this as we have a look at the Pirouette form. But when it changes into Pirouette form, it becomes a physical attacker, right? So you have to be a little bit careful how you use it. So maybe I would definitely have something like, say, Naive. It's already got very good special defense already, so you can drop it a bit there. You could go initially, you could hit it hard with a special move. Another interesting one that you could use as well, you could get rid of its speed altogether and give it max attack and max special attack. So increasing both its stats there. I know that it's not very fast then, but what you could do is you could go Choice Scarf on it, right? And you could even do like a berry or something like that. But mostly from what I found, trying to do a mixed attacker on it is quite difficult, because you have to give up, you got to give up something, right? And if you make it to, say for example, you make it to special attacking, then when it transforms to the Pirouette form, it's not going to hit very hard. So that's something to think about there as well. So you could, I will try and do one. So let's have a quick look here. I'm just doing this right on the spot. It doesn't really get any other ways to increase its speed. So maybe you could do something like this. You could even try a Trick Room set. So let's say I'd go Close Combat. You got Relic Song. Close Combat's a pretty good move. So you don't really have much to hit Ghost types with at all. So you've got a normal move and a fighting move. Obviously, it changes into a fighting type. You'll get to see that. And I'd put maybe, you could put Room Service on there as well. I actually did have a Trick Room set already, but I'm making another one. So we'll go Quiet on this. You could go Quiet and then 0, or closest you can get it, of course. But yeah, Trick Room, Close Combat, Relic Song, and you could just pop on like Shadow Ball or something like that. Just a coverage move to hit, you know, any other types. This at least this way you can be hitting hard and fast. The only thing is the Pirouette form is still very, very fast, so it may not work. So you may have to like give up another sort of like a stat there. But let's go more into the a mix sort of set as we get into Pirouette form. That one's a little bit easier to explain when I've got its stats up. So let's have a look at Meloetta for a doubles or VGC situation, if it's ever there. So Meloetta serves pretty nicely. It has Hyper Voice and Dazzling Gleam, which are really good moves for doubles. I've still kept the Throat Spray set here. Shadow Ball and Protect. Pretty simple. Terra Normal, and you can just, you know, spam that. It's going to be working very, very nicely. Same EVs as before. Other set I thought you could run with it. Could be an Assault Vest set in the rain. So I thought maybe Thunder with like Pelipper or something like that as a teammate. And that would allow you to hit those. And with the Thunder and Serene Grace, that would actually give it... So Serene Grace gives a double to your chances secondary. So say it has a 30% chance to paralyze, right? Serene Grace would make that 60% chance to paralyze. So that would be a pretty good a pretty good move to fire off there and paralyze the opponents. Terra Blast, you've got that for Terra Blast Water. Hyper Voice again, and Focus Blast for any Steel-type Pokemon and Dark encounters like that. So, yeah, I reckon that could be pretty decent as well. Same EVs there, just a little bit of extra bulk on the special side that you could go for there. Trick Room said I thought you could run this. It is a bit, you can get away. It's just enough with Room Service. So, it's got some good bulk, so I've given it Max Health, Max Special, that Quiet Nature. And we've got Room Service, so that's going to drop your speed by 1 stage when in Trick Room. So Focus Blast, Psychic, and Dazzling Gleam. That gives you the options to use it in doubles or singles then with Dazzling Gleam. Or you can do Alluring Voice if you want to as well. But yeah, that's how I'd run that on a Trick Room team if you wanted to. It'll be pretty slow after a Room Service, and I think that'd be kind of nice. Psychic also has a 20% chance to drop its special defense too. Focus Blast also has a 20% chance to drop there, so you're doubling your things there. It can make somewhat use of it, but it lacks like a couple of the really great Serene Grace moves. In fact, some of the physical attack has like a couple of them as well. So it doesn't have anything. Unfortunately, it doesn't have anything like Ice Beam or something like that. Other cool things or lots of moves, say, let me bring this up here. So lots of other moves, say like Thunder, which have a 30, you want to try and make use of the 30% chance paralysis or 30% chance moves in this example, but it doesn't have like too many of them. So that's the only bad thing. You might get a lucky Serene Grace here and there, but it's not going to be like super constant, like say a Togekiss or something like that. Anyway, last set we got here is a PIMPNITE special, and look at this one. It's absolutely disgusting. So this is a Thunder Wave Teeter Dance set. So you paralyze the opponent, you hit them with a Teeter Dance, so they got some Parafusion going there. During that time, you either get time to set a substitute up. If you don't have a lot of health left, you can start going for Echoed Voice. Now, Echoed Voice is a sound-based move as well, and it gets exponentially more powerful as you use it. And you can also use Metronome as the item too, which is also going to stack with that rather nicely. Bit of a fun set, but if you're able to get this set up and you've cleared all the ghost types out the way, and you've got say you got a big stack of these up, even steel types and rock types are going to have a lot of problems swapping into this, especially with that big special attack stat too. Tip of Nature, Max Speed, and Max Special Attack, Terra Normal. So, interesting stuff there you could try for that. But this is, I would say, personally, this sort of set here for doubles is going to be the most reliable. You've got options to go for Calm Mind, or you've got Trick Room there. Mix is very difficult. I'm going to talk about some more in a sec. Also, the Choice Spec set is just a very, very hard hitter as well, which can be kind of nice. For the Choice Spec set, also, I will mention this. It does actually get U-turn, so if you want some momentum, you can have that. If you don't like Trick, but that can be handy for Choice Specs too. So thought I'd mention that. Some good teammates for Meloetta. I'm thinking here. So let's have a look at some poison types, because it is a Psychic type Pokemon. So I'm thinking like Amoonguss wouldn't be all that bad at all. So you've got Amoonguss as a good teammate there. Plus, if you had to set anything up, it can use it can actually use Rage Powder as well. So that could be nice and handy there. Also, this is fighting types, so neutral to this as well, and that would be good for any fighting types to come in. So you've got a couple of options there. Meloetta isn't really used all that often. Like I'll be honest with you, it's not all that used. The only sort of thing you'd be a little bit worried about there if you were going to Pirouette, it would be a double weakness to flying. But if you weren't, Amoonguss wouldn't be a bad partner. There's quite a few you could use. Any Pokemon also. Let's have a look at some more poison types for a sec. A few more examples I'm just thinking of here. We have got, I reckon Slowking Galar wouldn't be all that bad a partner either. So you got Slowking Galar. Regenerator would be quite nice as well, especially if it had something. Maybe you had something with like U-turn. Even on like one of these sets, you could put U-turn on there as well. Just knock off one of the moves you're not using so much, and then you could use that. With the Slowking, that could work too. I'm just thinking of some other ones that possibly, you could possibly use. So obviously, it's got a big weakness here to the Dark type Pokemon as well. So that is a problem. You might be able to try and, I don't know, you might be able to try and like bait the opponent into using, let me think of like Justified. I was having a look at the yeah, that'd actually be interesting. So you've got like Keldeo here. That could be kind of interesting. I know that, you know, not everyone uses Keldeo, but you've got a couple of options there. You know, maybe with any Justified Pokemon, you might be able to swap it in and give them a boost in their attack. That could be another way that you could go about, you know, with some teammates with Meloetta. To counter Meloetta, it isn't really that hard. It's usually just going to be running a special set. And yeah, you can sort of see it is kind of countered by Steel-type Pokemon. And if it's got a fighting move, it's going to be Focus Blast. So yeah, there's a lot of Steel-type Pokemon that are going to be able to, you know, beat that. There's tons of them, really. So I'm thinking, wow, okay, yeah, that would probably... Goldengo would be a big problem if you weren't running Shadow Ball on there. That would be a mega problem. So yeah, that was like resistant to, you know, you can't use any normal moves on it. You can't use Focus Blast on it. Psychic is not very effective. So that could be a big problem if you're not running Shadow Balls. It's kind of you probably need to run Shadow Ball just for Goldengo. Like actually, no, I'm just thinking about that because it's such a good Pokemon. Let's have a look at a couple more Ghosts here. Yeah, I'm thinking. I mean, there's quite a few Ghost Pokemon that are going to cause this thing a lot of problems. So you can sort of see them there. So I would... another thing I would probably do with Meloetta for teammates, let's have a look at one more. I'm thinking a Fighting type would be good. This is where its ability could come and... actually, we'll go Fighting type Pokemon. So Great Tusk, I was thinking that could be a great sort of you know, a teammate for it as well. That could get rid of quite a few of its counters. Any Dark type Pokemon, it could destroy them. So that'd be a really good one. There's quite a few. There's a lot of you know, fighting types out there. So you sort of get the general idea for Meloetta. Some last sort of minute thoughts on Meloetta, and we'll go to the Pirouette form. Let's have a look at its status move. So it can be a baton pass if that's sort of the rules you can play. It does get Parasong, which is interesting. It is a singing Pokemon, so I guess that makes sense. It gets moves like Sword Dance, but this is going to be like more useful for like the physical set. It gets Trick Room. We're sort of going over that. You might be able to make some kind of bulky set with it, like special defensive set with like Helping Hand, or it could be a Gravity user. That could actually work too. Teeter Dance could be interesting in doubles too. That could be like a little surprise move. Maybe you could put on one of your sets, you know, like this. Like you might be able to put Teeter Dance on there too. That could be interesting. You know, unless they've got own tempo, but you have to be kind of unlucky for that. But it's a pretty close book. There's nothing too drastic else that you could use with that. So let's move on to the Pirouette form. Okay, so having a look at the Pirouette form here, I just want to explain how its stats change if you don't know already. So the move Relic Song here, this is a 75 base power special move. It has a 10% chance of putting the opponent to sleep. With Serene Grace, that's a 20% chance. And it also transforms Meloetta. So you use Relic Song, you transform it. You use Relic Song again, you transform it back, right? That's how the move works. Now, with Meloetta, you can have a look at its stats here. Obviously, if you were going to run this, if you were planning to run a physical one, you'd run physical EVs, not special ones, because when it changes form, as you can see, it changes drastically there. So looking at its stats, we've got the same health stat. We've got, now we've got a terrible special attack there, and its special defense is shoddy as well. And its defense is, it's not too bad. It's not too bad defense there. Its health still stays the same, and its speed is very fast. So it's very, very much an opposite Pokemon to the normal Meloetta form. So it's also normal on fighting as well, as you can see. Same ability there, but it runs much differently. Now, the thing about this Pokemon that makes it a big gimmick is you have to use Relic Song first every time to get it into this form. So if you want to use this, you always have to have Relic Song on there. Like, that takes up one slot already, and it's going to be... most of the time, it's going to be a pretty weak move too, because you've got all your EVs invested in attack, right? I mean, it has a good base special attack, but still, it's not going to be a very powerful move. You might get lucky putting your opponent to sleep on transformation, but you know, it's a 20% chance isn't very much. So the best set, I quite like this set. It gives it the best coverage, and you're trying to make use of your ability too, Serene Grace. So close combat, 120 base power, 100% actually really powerful move. Ice Punch is great for coverage there, or any like annoying physical walls like, you know, Gliska and things like that, just demolishes them. And it also has a 20% chance of freeze too, with Serene Grace. Now this one here is kind of mean. You've got Zen Headbutt, which makes that a 40% chance to flinch. And with its really fast speed stat, you can outspeed a lot of things. It's really, really quick. So Jolly Nature, max attack, and max speed. So that's how you could run that. Life Orb is the item there, just for even more damage output. That's kind of nice. You could put Lumberry on there as well if you're afraid of it getting status or anything like that. That's always a good item for physical attackers. So, you know, either would work well there. You could even have Assault Vest on there too if you want to patch your, you know, your special defense a little bit. It doesn't have any setup moves on this set, so you could use the Assault Vest too. That would give it a bit of extra bulk on each you know, poor special defenses that. So yeah, I've given it Terra Psychic. That'd be kind of fun there. You got Terra Psychic and Zen Headbutt. That's going to be kind of nice. Plus, it's quite good defensive as well, because any Psychic type Pokemon, you can go Terra type Psychic too, and you know, proceed to hit them with an Ice Punch. Another option you could have on there as well, I don't mind this one. It could be even more reliable, is Knockoff. So you could have Knockoff on there. That would be great for Psychic type Pokemon. And then, of course, what you do is change your Terra to Dark type then. So you'd be great against a Psychic type Pokemon, right? Because you know, they're going to go for the Psychic move, you Terra Dark, and then you hit them with a Knockoff, and you know, you're going to do heavy damage or one-shot them. So that's going to be really good. One of the ones you do have to watch out for a little bit is Fairy type Pokemon. That is an issue because Terra Dark is not going to, you know, help you out against that at all. So you could go for something like, you could have Terra Fighting on there. That could be another one. Now, as for physical moves, it doesn't really get. I mean, you could have Terra. Sure, you could have Terra Blast on there as well if you just wanted like Terra. I don't know. Whatever, if you want Terra Normal on there or whatever like that. That could work. That's another way of working it. That way, at least Fairy wouldn't be super effective. I mean, you know, that sort of thing. But it's difficult. It does have quite a few you know, weaknesses there. If it's not Fairy, it's going to be Psychic. You know, so that's something else that you could think about. More of a defensive one you could go for as well. Just thinking about that. So Steel could be interesting on there. That would resist Psychic and Fairy at the same time. So that could be nice. You don't have to have Terra Blast on there. It could just be pure defensive. So you could have Knockoff on there as well. Still for any Psychic type Pokemon. I mean, you could have Terra. I mean, you could really have Terra Blast Steel on there if you wanted to. That would destroy Fairy type Pokemon. That could be like another option too. But yeah, that's probably how I'd go about running this Pokemon. There are a couple of other things you could do. So yeah, but a very, very, very good Pokemon. The main problem, once again, about Pirouette form is you can't just send it out with like this. You have to use Relic Song first, which is its big weakness. Once you've done it, it's okay, but is it still going to be? Is it going to have much health then? You know, well, it's really how you play it. You have to play it in the right, you know, situation there. Let's have a look at the next set here. So it can run a Sword Dance set, but boy, is it really, really cramped for room on movesets, because once again, you always have to have Relic Song. So Relic Song and Sword Dance, this gives it like crazy levels of attack. And we've got Close Combat and Knockoff. I feel like they're the two best coverage moves on it. You can just spam Close Combat on pretty much everything except for Ghost types and, you know, Poison types and stuff like that. You do have a bit of an issue with Fairy type Pokemon though, so you'd be, you know, with this sort of set, I'd probably run it alongside something that can deal with Fairy type Pokemon, like a Poison type or something like that, or a Steel type would be definitely useful there for sure. Lumberry as the item, Terra type Fighting. That's just going to do like an incredible amounts of damage there. So with its big attack stat, and it's got a really good speed stat too. So it's a very nice physical attacking Pokemon. You could go Life Orb too. That could be another option. But yeah, that's pretty much it for all the Sword Dance set. It's difficult, right? Because the main gimmick of Pirouette It really cramps its. You got that two. Really, with Relic Song and Sword Dance, you got 2 moves to work with there, and you have to choose close combat. Another move it does have is Drain Punch, but look, it doesn't really hit that hard. But you might be able to have a bulky sort of set there with Drain Punch, but it will not do like anywhere and near amount of the damage that you're sort of hoping for. So, with that big attack stat, I'll be using my highest damaging moves. It's probably better, right? Otherwise, there's other Pokemon that can do a bulky Drain Punch roll better, yeah? So next set we've got, let's have a look at a double set. This is one I came up with. It's probably my favorite kind of one. So just for the purpose, we're just remembering this is going to be Meloetta first. So we're going to use Relic Song, Transform Myself, or then you got the options of using U-Turn, and then you've got Close Combat there. And you've got a Jetpack, so that can work nicely with some other Pokemon, say Intimidate Pokemon on your team. They could work very nicely. It's like, so you got U-Turn and you've got your own Close Combat little mini U-Turn there as well. Acrobatics as well for a bit of extra power there. And you got Terra Type Normal as well, so that's that could just be used for Relic Song, or you could go. Matter of fact, I go Terra Type. You go Terra Type Flying maybe. That could be interesting. So like Terra Type Flying and Acrobatics, just for like coverage, or you can go Terra Type Fighting as well. I mean, Terra Type Fighting is pretty good on it, right? So you could go for one of those 2 there. Normal's not really. Probably not needed on that set because we don't really have a normal move outside of Relic Song. Max attack and max speed. I gave this Adamant Nature for even more power. You can give it Jolly or Adamant, sort of like up to you. I don't know how many people are going to be using this Pokemon in doubles at all, but I don't mind this set. It's got some. It's pretty cool because you've got like Relic Song to transform it, Close Combat for hitting hard. Then you've got the Eject Pack. You've got for a pivot there, and then you could bring in some other Intimidate Pokemon, and then you could bring it back in, U-Turn again. It works really nice that way. And then Acrobatics as well, since you consume your item. That could be another good way to use it. Another one we got here, this is starting to get a little bit more gimmicky. We've got this is like a 1 HP sweeper. I thought with these great stats, you could definitely make use of Reversal. So the less health it's got, the more power it's going to have less. So it's going to be very, very powerful on 1 health. So I thought Reversal and Acrobatics could work with Terra Flying too. You've got Endure, and then you've got Relic Song as well to transform it. And you've got a weakness policy. So you could time the Endure when like, say, a flying move is coming, a fighting move is coming, a psychic move is coming, a fairy type move is coming. So that could be really, really good. The best defensive typing for Meloetta Pirouette is definitely Steel, because fairy, psychic, flying, right? That's definitely the best defensive typing. There's no better defensive typing than that for that. So you could seriously use that in the Sword Dance set as well, if you wanted to, or just the physical one. So that would definitely be best for that. Same as before, we got max attack and max speed, sort of like a 1 HP set. And of course, let's have a look at a PIMPNITE special here. Look at this one. So this is, the more I look at this, it's probably going to be better on like the normal Meloetta. So you get to have this on the normal Meloetta. It's got like better bulk. I was sort of just thinking that as I made it. So we've got Relic Song, Perish Song, Rest, and Teeter Dance. So we can go for a Relic Song, transform ourselves. We then can go for a Perish Song, get that Perish Song up. We could then transform back into Meloetta, get some extra bulk, rest off any damage, and then confuse the opponent too. Unfortunately, this is only going to work on their last Pokemon, because it doesn't learn anything like Mean Look or any like trapping moves. I would have put them on there. And very, very difficult Pokemon to make moves for, because it doesn't really get a lot of moves to begin with. So as for any Pokemon, I would definitely suggest as a partner, like a partner would be a Steel type. Steel types would be a really great partner for this. So like Corviknight, that's gonna be great. Corviknight, Goldengo, that's going to be very good as well. Definitely Steel type Pokemon are going to be your best bet there for sure, right? And they're weak to fighting as well, so you can just come in and they're a good sort of like a good partner there. Or you could even Relic Song back into a Meloetta, a special attacking one. You know what I mean? Like you could use one of those special attacking sets with it. And you could just use the typing for it and then transform it back. So there are some ways to use it, right? But I was talking about a mix set. Let's have a look at that. I want to see if I can figure that out. So we're definitely going to have close combat on there. So Relic Song to change it. Close combat, obviously. Now, the only type of move they both retain is normal. So I guess we keep Relic Song in close combat for that. I haven't really got a great way to increase its like speed or anything, because to get the most out of it, I thought you definitely have to have something like Naive and then make it physical and special. So that could that's an idea there. So I'm happy with those two moves because they're going to work very nicely on it. But you need something to be out. I think it needs Shadow Ball. It definitely needs Shadow Ball. Wish I could do something about its speed. I could give it like Salic Berry. I'm literally just thinking on the spot here. I'm just making this up on the spot. Yeah, I'm having a look at the rest of this move. It doesn't really have anything to increase its speed at all. The only way you can get around is Trick Room, but as I said before, the Pirouette form is way too fast for Trick Room. So you might be able to have something like Salic Berry, you know? This is very gimmicky, but it could be fun. So you've got like Salic Berry there. And you might be, if you're lucky, you might be able to put them to sleep and then change your form, hit them with a move. Then the next counter comes out, go for Relic Song, put them to sleep again, with 20% chance. But this is obviously a gimmicky set, but I'll see if I can do it. So Relic Song, Close Combat, Shadow Ball. Ooh, so we got 2 special moves there and 1 physical. Let's have a look at a physical move. Now, Drain Punch wouldn't be all that bad on this set. That would give it some extra sustain. Maybe Ice Punch. I think Ice Punch would be very, very good for coverage. As well, because we got what are we weak to here? So steel isn't a problem. We got Shadow Ball for ghost types. We got Relics on the change. I think that's pretty good. Maybe a psychic type. Maybe a psychic type move would be handy here, but we already have that. I'm thinking Ice Punch might be a good move there. It actually gets triple axle too. I will mention that. It does get triple axle, so that. You could possibly use that as well on the physical set over like Ice Punch, but I kind of like Ice Punch because you've got that Serene Grace chance, so we'll stick with that. So there you go. There's a mix Meloetta set, PIMPNITE special. So after this is obviously going to be a lot faster in the Pirouette form, so I reckon this will work. I reckon this could definitely work. It's just when it gets into the special form, it's going to be a bit slower. So there you go, a mix Meloetta set. I don't mind that one. I might try and get see if I can get a Pokemon sweep with this one, since the new one just come out. But anyway, people, I hope you enjoyed today's guide on Meloetta and Pirouette form. Not a Pokemon that people really use all that much, but I like to cover sort of all the Pokemon. I hope you learned something there. Maybe you got another set you want to share with me. Let me know in the comment section. If you enjoyed it, you're watching it for the first time, maybe hit that subscribe button, drop that like, and I'll catch you. I think I may have another guide a little bit later. We'll see. All right. Peace out, people.